Heavily remain.
So you feel you are genuinely, honestly, authentically representing
100%.
your constituency. The trouble is the vote wasn't done by constituency,
No,
was it? It was done by the whole of the UK.
Yeah.
And in that, a majority voted for Brexit. And you stood on a Conservative manifesto which said that you would deliver on Brexit.
I did, although in the last general election, anybody that looked at my campaign literature or what I was saying when I was knocking on doors, I used my own literature. I didn't use central offices, actually, for that purpose.
The referendum was a different kind of vote. It was a national question, it wasn't a local one. And I know that probably the majority of people in this room tonight will think, well, we don't want it, but we can't forget that this was a national vote. And I think it's wrong for us as democratic leaders to be picking and choosing the results that we don't like.
But you've changed your mind on that,
Yes,
then.
because when I said those things, and I'm not hiding from the fact, it was because I was behind the Prime Minister and I wanted to give her my support, and it was in the early days when I thought, yes, she's going to go out there and get a deal.
Why were you on the People's Vote March, then?
But for all the reasons that, we are in a different position now.
So you want another referendum?
I don't crave it.
You were marching for it?
Yes, but as a consequence...
How many times do you march for things you don't want?
No, there's a difference between accepting that that's the way out of this mess and actively having wanted it for the last 3 years.
Well, not really. If you're marching with people for a people's vote...
Because they deserve a say
that would seem
to
suggest to me that you believe there should be one.
But because there is no way out. There is absolutely no way out.
You do want one?
Well, going back to...
Actually, there is a way out. It's called no deal. It's called...
Do you have any idea, Piers, with the greatest of respect, will you lose your job if there's no deal?
I have about as much idea about what would happen as you do, right? And here's why I say that.
But you would be secure.
Hang on. You've asked a question. Let me answer you. When I was editor for Daily Mirror back in the early 2000s, the Euro debate was raging, right? And I was approached by Tony Blair, Alistair Campbell, all the people currently raging away about it'll be apocalyptic if we have no deal, right? They all said the same thing to me. If we do not join the Euro, it will be a financial disaster for this country, recession, hundreds of thousands of job losses, all the same stuff we're getting now. You know what happened? We didn't join the Euro. Best thing we never did. Best thing for the British economy. They were all made to look completely stupid, right? And so the same people now want me to believe, and I'm sorry, it's a bit like the boy that cried wolf. It's like, well, why should I believe you again? We were told by the governor of the Bank of England if we voted to leave, we would virtually be in recession by now. The former Chancellor said 800,000 job losses within weeks of voting to leave. None of it happened.
But the fundamental difference, if I may say with respect, between you and I, is your job is not to protect the livelihoods of your constituents, mine is.
Right, but how do you know? How do you know what would happen?
When it comes to...
How do you know with such certainty?
Because, guess what?
Given everyone's got it wrong so far about the Euro, and everyone got it wrong about the consequences of an immediate aftermath of a leave vote, including the Governor of the Bank of England, how do you, with great respect to you, actually know what would happen with no deal?
With great respect to you, sir...
Should we stop saying great respect? I don't think either of us have a modicum of respect for each other. So...
The difference... As my husband always says to me, Heidi, you were born with 2 ears and 1 mouth, use them in proportion. I'm listening. I suspect perhaps...
I think those that voted to leave would think we were treating them as fools and that they were stupid and we didn't respect their views. So I feel a second referendum is not is not what we should be aiming for.
To me, the purest form of Brexit left on the table is not Theresa May's terrible deal that everyone agrees is terrible, but now apparently all is going to go along with. And I'm a Remainer.
I don't think the deal will get through.
I'm a Remainer. I voted Remain, I would do again. But I think democracy dictates that we actually enact the will of the people, which was to leave. It wasn't to part leave.
The only thing left on
the table that is leaving, real leaving, is no deal. And you clowns in Parliament have all taken it off the table.
Can we, do we believe that democracy only exists on one day with one group of people on that day
Here's what I think.
years ago?
Well, the trouble is, the leaflet said, whatever you vote, we will put into place. And if you make a promise like that, then yes, that's...
David Cameron said once only. Once only, once in a lifetime vote. He didn't say we'll have another one before we even try and enact the result of the first one. My point is, you voted to leave this country. We have to try it. If it fails, you can have another referendum and you can try and go another way, right? But you have to try it.
In your opinion? In your opinion?
No, in the opinion of democracy. It's called democracy.
This is democracy. We might not all like the result. I was a Remainer. But the minute we start ignoring the democratic will of the people in this country, we are slipping very quickly towards the kind of banana republic I don't want to live in.
You ask the British people, the British Prime Minister says, this is a once-in-a-lifetime vote, it's all down to you. Not parliamentarians.
OK.
You.
Yes, I believe...
Sorry, Nigel. Can I just let Heidi respond to the point?
As MPs, we have a very different job. It's to
Your job's to do what we pay you to do, which is deliver the result of a referendum.
Keep going, Heidi.
Thank you, I'll try. Maybe I'll just look at you.
Look me in the eye.
My job is to represent my constituents, their livelihoods, and as a consequence, the country. I am fiscally and from an ambition point of view, maybe I am modest when it comes to the future of my constituents, but I am not prepared to take the gamble that no deal is going to be OK. Because I believe, listening to experts, reading the no deal analysis that MPs have had the privilege of seeing...
You have to make a judgment.
Absolutely, and that is our job. That's what we're elected to do. If my constituents think I've got it wrong, they can boot me out sooner maybe than the next general election. Who knows? But the point is, while I'm in this job, it is my responsibility to stand up for my constituents. No, because I'm doing well here. I think I'll keep with the eye contact.
Let's have a drinking game with you and me, right?
I know I would lose on that.
Basically, what you've now been saying is that despite your previous utterances, that this is about recognising and respecting a national vote, actually you're more concerned about saving your own backyard and your own seat by doing what your Remain-dominated constituency wants.
If my backyard is the livelihoods and the fact that my constituents can put food on their tables, I will defend that with every fibre in my being.
Your Remain-dominated constituency is more important to you than the country that voted leave, right?
But it isn't just my constituents who signed the, what is it, over 6 million now, revoke Article 50 petition.
Have you signed it?
Yes, I have. A lot of my.
So you want to revoke Article 50?
If we are looking at the option of no, I would rather have a second referendum.
So quite frankly, if I'm re-elected as your MP, I am not going to waste time, precious time, resisting Brexit from happening.
That doesn't mean going on marches for people's votes and sitting here shamelessly saying, I don't actually believe that.
The last time I checked, Piers, it's a democracy and people have the right to say how they feel.
You marched on a people's vote but don't believe in a second referendum. That is the people's vote.
Democracy does not exist and die on one day only.
Are you marching tomorrow for something you don't believe in?
We have a duty to respond.
Any more marches coming up you don't believe in?
We have a well, I'm going to the Barbra Streisand in Hyde Park.
Do you believe in Barbra Streisand?
I do believe in Barbra Streisand. Don't get me started on Barbra Streisand.
I love Barbra Streisand.
My suggestion for Heidi, though, is that she stood as a Conservative in 2017. She stood on a platform of delivering the people's vote. And then she switched parties. Well, maybe you should present yourself to your electorate in a by-election and give them a second vote.
With great respect to all of you, you all stood on a platform of representing the British public, right? And right now, you've all singularly failed, or rather, collectively failed.
Or perhaps we're trying to protect their future. Does it occur to you that possibly the reason so many MPs are really struggling with finding a way through this is because in their hearts they know that Brexit is going to make their constituents poorer.
Yeah, well, you know what?
MP, that's not what you sign up to do.
You know what? The trouble is, it didn't say on the ballot paper that you vote, if you vote leave or you vote to stay in, it didn't have all these little caveats like, actually, but if you're a Remainer MP, you know, you can use the excuse it's bad for the people.
Policy has to respond to the facts in front of us now.
But Heidi, sorry, with respect.
Of course, always with respect.
If you tell 17.4 million people that they voted for something that they were stupid enough was going to make them poorer, you are really going to antagonise 17.4 million people.
The minute we start ignoring the democratic will of the people in this country, we are slipping very quickly towards the kind of banana republic I don't want to live in. So we have to accept the result.